Hi everyone, welcome back to continuing working on our Minecraft texture pack. It's an attempt to get better at pixel art by slowly, bit by bit, taking a look at wherever we are in Minecraft and changing the textures of it. What we did last time, why don't I just go ahead and show you? And voila, here we are. We have started a little bit, only a little bit. 2 blocks have been done. We have completed the grass block and we have completed the dirt block. So 2 blocks out of an entirety of a lot of blocks. You can ignore the block in my hand. What we're going to be doing today is, I think it could be a lot of fun to do the gravel. The gravel could be a lot of fun to do. I thought about doing stone, but I think I'll save that for when we get to caves. And since gravel is right here next to our spawn, yeah, let's do some gravel. First things first, just as a super duper quick refresher, I want to make this texture pack something fantasy based, and when I think fantasy based and I think what the idea I'm going for, I want to go for something like Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or something like Genshin Impact or Slime Rancher. These are the games I'm looking at for inspirations. The challenge is I can't look at any other pixel art. For example, here we have some lovely pixel artists. When we get to items, I'm going to do my best to just look at regular things. For example, I have some references of gravel here. Now I have found that getting better at pixel art has been a lot easier by looking at references. I first want to try to make all of these textures myself and then go back and refresh them with references included. So we'll see how that goes. In the meantime though, gravel. How can gravel be? I think, well, we already have our green grass. Now, the question is, do we want our gravel to maybe, well, that would be dirt. Gravel, from my very accurate research of 45 seconds, it seems to be crushed up stone, and it depends. Sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's a little bit brown, sometimes it's even black, which I didn't know. What would you even call it instead if it's not gravel? So we do have a few colors to choose from. Minecraft gravel does have a particular style. That particular style being this. This is how Minecraft gravel currently looks. And just to make sure the music's not too loud, let me also lower it down just a bit here. There we go. Hopefully it wasn't in your ears too much. Going on. This is the Minecraft current gravel look. But Minecraft's gravel didn't always look like this. Once upon a time, it looked a little something like this, which was a lot more thick. And just to bring you back into Minecraft, let's take a look at both of these. So if I go ahead and I click on this button here, this is the current version of what Minecraft gravel looks like. Let me go ahead and show you the old version. Here we are. I would say the older version's a lot louder than the upgraded version. One thing that's important to note, at least when it comes to programmer, what's it called? I believe it's called programmer art, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, programmer art. When Minecraft was made, it wasn't made by pixel artists. It was made by people who just wanted to make a game. And now that Minecraft's gotten bigger, the game went through an entire refresh with more artist professionals, and that's where we're at here. Hence why the gravel went from looking like this to something a little bit smoother and easier on the eyes. And I can certainly say there's a lot of different textures in Minecraft that I like the look of. Some not so much, but I can certainly agree. I do like the smoother texture. So I want to create something that is also smoother. Definitely, as soon as I immediately change, it's less harsh on the eyes. But let me explain that a little bit better. I bring you back into here, and we were to go ahead, let's see. And if I made you into, let's see, view, and I were to view it, and I would put you in tiled mode here and both axes here. So we have this version, and I can leave you two down there. That should be fine. Or, you know what? Let me close Minecraft. We have this, and then we have, if I go ahead and do layer, oh no, it was, what was it? View, and then we go tiled mode, and in both axes here. All right, so this is new, this is old. And if I were to put this into black and white mode, like this, or I thought it would make a difference, truth be told. I think it doesn't because it's gray. That would be something to note. What I wanted to say was, and I don't even think the grayscale's working here. If I go ahead and convert you to, oh, I know why. Hold on. Okay. It's not working. It's not allowing me to do it because I need to set it to color mode RGB. This guy, I'm going to also assume it needs to be color mode RGB. That one is good to go. These are all I'm going to guess are gray, which is why it does do that. And now, if I were to do my black and white, are we going to want to do? Yes, okay. It's a little bit hard to tell, not as easy as I had hoped. Maybe it's a little bit easier to see here. but when broken down to black and white, the contrast is really sharp. So here, there's a lot going on. It's hard on the eyes. Here, not so much. It's softer. It doesn't scream in your face as much. It's a bit of a shame it's gray, so turning it to grayscale doesn't help too much. But hopefully you can see the difference between these two textures. Smoother, rougher. And this one's rougher because it has big chunks of rock inside of it with these really bright highlights and these really dark colors. This one here, a lot less dark colors. So the hope is that we can get something similar to this. And in order to do that, we need to make sure it's smooth and blending. And the thing is, we already did a little bit of that. But we did an the music, hold on, let me just do that. There we go. And we did that earlier for the grass and the dirt by making sure that our contrast was not super duper bright. And if I bring you back into this guy here, which holds our default guy, what I mean is, in order to create gravel, we're gonna have to do, if I do a new layer here and paste this guy here, say we have a background like this for our color. In order, and actually let me let's make our grid mode here, child mode here in both axes. There we are. Okay, our guy here, little guy here, I'm gonna call him James. How about that? One option, do something that's super duper high in contrast here and here. And if I just add some, we'll do a little dot here, little dot. And if I were to make it in black and white, it's very obvious to see the circle. So it's higher contrast. What would be super duper high contrast if I don't grayscale it too much? If we did this color here, notice how it punches you. Granted, it is highly saturated. But if I were to do like maybe this color here, hold on. There we go. That way it's not in your face too much, but it's still darker. It's a dark color against a bright color. In order to not make it punch in our face, what we would have to do is we would have to take a light color against a light color. So instead, something like, hold on, this will be a little bit easier on the eyes because less contrast. Now, one thing I do say, and one thing I do enjoy doing is high contrast for specific things. But if you want your textures to blend, then going low contrast might be a better option because then everything will be smooth compared to things sticking out at you. And if you want them to not be individuals and to work as a team, then going something that's lower contrast and smoother is a wonderful idea. With that said though, why don't we go ahead and actually get into the gravel? Okie dokie. First thing first, we're going to need to choose a color. What I've What I've gone ahead and done is I put all the blocks that we have currently completed. It's technically two. You have dirt and grass here. If I go ahead and do new layer, we just need to keep in mind the feel that we're going for. And the reason why I added the other blocks was to hopefully allow us to get a good idea of what these blocks would look like when they're together. Since we want all of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Coherent. I think that's the word. When everything feels similar or goes together, we want it to feel nice when it's put together. I do like this green. I say green. It is technically a green. It's greenish yellow. I'm gonna save this color here, and usually, if I find a color I like, I do a new layer here, and I pop that guy down while I'm trying to find colors. I like this one here. I like how it's not super duper gray. It's not super duper bright or super duper dark in the gray. That one's not too bad either. This one I quite enjoy. It's not too bright, not too bad. And you can see too the contrast. That's something else we want to pay attention to. Do we want to have our gravel high in contrast against our other blocks? Do we want it to be super duper dark? In Minecraft, it's not super duper dark, but we can make whatever we want. If we really wanted to, we can make our gravel green. And no one could tell us nothing. And I like having a little bit of color in my what is it, whites or blacks. So I don't usually like going all the way over here. If I need a white, I'll go up here, but I won't go all the way up here. If I need a black, I'll go down here, but I'll never really go down here. So for gray, I'm gonna go maybe a little bit here. That could be our gravel color, this sort of greenish. I do like that. Right now, it works together because we're in our warm color area. We're in warm tones and trying to find the right layer. That way I don't lose this color here. And I believe we're drawing on this layer. Let me just double check here. Hold on. We did the real layers wrong. Hold on. Okay, what we're gonna do is just grab that color, grab this color, delete that layer, delete this layer, new layer, color, done. That's our palette layer. There we go. Good to go. And what I was saying is that right now, I think these colors work together because we are in the greens. We're in this part of the color wheel instead of this part. So having a greenish gray might feel a little bit better, though I do counter the fact that since I think purple is a complementary color to green, Yes, a purple is a complementary color to green. I just had to double check. They're opposite of each other. That's to say they're opposites of the color wheel. And the idea is that the complementary colors tend to look nice together. So if we don't do green against green and yellow, it might be a fun idea to make our gray purple. And that could add a little bit of flavor too. It might make it feel nicer. We could do this color maybe, or if we're going for like maybe a warmer, so like a warmer purple, then we would go more towards our yellows. Maybe we can make it go up a little bit more. Though this doesn't, I don't really see the purple in it anymore. I think this could work too. You know what? Let's do a little bit of color theory. Let's go, at least for now, temporarily. This could easily change later. The idea is that this is a starting point. It doesn't have to always be like this, but we just need to put something down as a foundation. So let's see, B-L-O-C-K-S. Blocks, yes indeedy. And then this is our palette. So we have a few colors to choose from. You know what? Technically speaking, we could use all three of these colors, make purple our primary, and then add a few of these extra ones. I think that is a wonderful idea. So let's go ahead and start off by, let's see if I can find it. I'm going to start off by just putting this purple in the game as a single color. Step 1 complete. Here is the singular block in our world. Question now is this something we think we can get behind? Is this a color that could work well? And truth be told, not looking at anything else but our gravel here currently, I think so. I think this could be a lovely gravel color. It's not too dark, it's not too bright though. It does feel a little bit blue. Maybe we can modify that a little bit. So since it feels a little bit blue in my eyes, maybe what I can do is move it more towards this reddish tone, fill that in, though you can notice I don't think that changed it at all. Maybe if we go a little bit more here to the side, that definitely would make it feel purple. We can go and do File, Export, Export As, and if I just export this guy, bring it back into the game and do F3 and T, we can reload it in, and the hope is to feel more purple than blue. Though, truth be told, it still feels pretty blue. The color I'm getting from this is a clay color. That's the color I'm getting. And now what I'm wondering is this truly the direction we want to go down? When we get to clay, are we going to have to choose a different approach? Clay is also gray. Gravel has a lot of texture in it, so maybe that'll be the change, but clay is blue too. It's got a bluish tone. We might be okay. If we make gravel purple and we make clay blue, that'll be a good difference. So you know what? Yeah, let's keep this purple and continue from there. Next up is the part that is one of my favorites. I have been enjoying doing tiling more. We have here for reference our 2 gravels as well as our other gravels. So what I'm going to do, and look at that as well. This gravel looks it looks blended in like the Minecraft texture, the new one. But look how rougher the older one is in comparison to real life gravel versus the updated gravel. So I definitely think, at least for the feeling we're going, more smooth is good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to just slowly chip away with that contrast idea of adding a little bit of texture, a little bit of dark areas, a little bit of bright areas. I think something that's also important to know is that these areas, I think these blocks are supposed to be, what is it called? Pebbles. Pebbles or stone. This one here, less pebbles or stone. So what I'm thinking is we try a few dots here and there. Not a lot, but we definitely want it to feel not stone, but gravel. So let's see what I can figure out. To begin, I'm gonna see if just peppering out a few of these textures works out well. I noticed that there's a bit of a high contrast, or at least it's super duper dark. So maybe I can make it a little less dark. Not as dark as I originally thought. So we go here, and then we were to go here. Then that immediately changes the contrast. It's not as painful to look at. From here, what I'm thinking is, all right, I'm gonna grab this texture now, and I'm gonna maybe make another darker texture. So we have a lighter texture, we have this dark texture. Let's maybe go a little bit darker. I know I was about to do a time lapse, but maybe we'll go on and off with stopping and pausing and going. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, now, I'm not too sure how I feel about this quite yet. I think there are areas for improvement. For example, we're zooming out again. There is a pattern I can see. Noticeably, I'm seeing this little block guy here. So maybe if we were to just, for example, maybe add maybe that color here or something else, we could hopefully make it not seem like it's obvious what's going on here. For example, maybe if we add a line here, Maybe we bring it up a line there. Maybe I did like the idea of peppering. I did enjoy that. I think it could be a fun thing to do. I kept to the 2x2 idea of the block here. And the hope was just peppering in things would make it not seem too bright. I even added a smidge of a brighter color here, but I think we can go a little bit brighter. You know what? That's not too bad. That's not too bad, actually. You know what? We'll keep it. Question is now, what else do we keep? Do we add that color? Do we remove that color? I definitely think that bright color adds more. Maybe we can add in a few more of these dots. Not a lot, but just enough so that there's not a lot going on. And checking our contrast, notice how it's not very sharp. The point is not to be super duper sharp on the eyes. Now, we haven't even actually tested this gravel texture, so why don't we go ahead? I'm going to export this and then we'll check it out in Minecraft. Alrighty, are you ready for the grand reveal? We have this. That's not too bad, though, truth be told, it reminds me of, I almost get the clay feeling from it. In a way. It makes me think of clay. Clay is more blue, but the gravel's not graveling as well as I thought it might, but that's okay. What we can do is if we were to just quickly toggle the texture pack off and take a look at the current gravel, there are a few sharper tones going on here. So let's try again. For this one, I think maybe we try the gray leaning, though then again, gray and purple. I definitely think gray is going to be our best friend when it comes to stone. So the hope is that we can leave each of the different blocks a different color. So clay will have blue, then we'll have yellow for sand, and then for stone, gray. And the thing is though, this is a gray. It's a very different gray. It's got a little bit of hint to it. Now, I'm wondering, do we maybe try to add little triangles in these areas here to make it maybe look like it's got parts in it? I'm going to go less for a peppered dot feeling, and I'm going to try my hand at maybe triangles. I do see a few triangles in here, so let's see how that turns out. Okay. I'm not too opposed to this idea. It needs a few modifications, I think, but just off the bat, I think it looks a lot nicer than the other one. It's just gonna need a few bits of tweaking here and there, but all in all, it's definitely, I think, more plausible than our other guy. We just need to clean up the shapes a smidge and not worry too much about the details, but still care enough to clean up a bit here and there, make things sharper in some areas than in others. Add a bit of left and right sort of tiling I'm going for, a little bit left, a little bit here. And then from here, what I'm thinking is, now we can add a little bit of variation. For example, maybe some of these guys are a little bit brighter. So I'm gonna just take this up a smidge, take this up a bit here too. And we're going to go for this color here. And we're gonna go up a little bit and go over to the yellow a little bit here. And that's a little bit too bright, so we'll go down a little bit here. We want it to be brighter than our current color, but not super duper bright. Maybe, oh, hold on. Nope, that's definitely not it. Up a little bit more, try that color. You know, I take it back. I do not like you. Let's see. Go back here, slide over a little bit here. It's still not bright enough. Go over a little bit more. Maybe that color. It's not too bad. I think this color works. So I'll go ahead and I'll just pepper this in. And the hope is that it doesn't give something too zigzaggy is the look we're going for here. I also want to make sure these guys are good to go. I can then make sure that's also added in as well. Now we can grab this guy and maybe we can go just a smidge darker here. Maybe we can go down a bit and then add in like a darker guy here. Maybe we can add like a darker guy there. Maybe a darker guy up here. Though I'm not sure if this is going to feel like gravel as much anymore, but we'll see. Right now, it kind of reminds me of wallpaper, if I had to guess. Looking at the actual Minecraft textures, this one again, round blocks to show it off. And this one here too does have a few blocks to show different things. So it makes me wonder, maybe we do have to add a few light bits to show, hey, look, there's a little bit of light going on here because it is a rock. For example, maybe these little white bits here have a little bit of light. Maybe, I don't know. And then maybe we can grab this guy, use this color here for a highlight, though I think I think it could be a little bit brighter. Maybe if we go up a little bit here, slide you over a little bit here, and then go up here. Well, truth be told, we're probably gonna have to go something like that there. Though I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be fine. Let's see. Maybe then we can grab this color here, the back texture, and maybe we can make you just a smidge darker in some areas, slide you over just a little bit, and add a little bit of, I don't even know what you would call this, but I hope it makes sense. I'm doing my best to just kind of splotch things in, and I'm not too opposed to that. Maybe this guy can go here, and now we can grab this color here. Maybe then we can go a little bit darker here, slide over here a little bit more, and actually that's a little bit too dark. A little bit too dark for my liking. Slide over a little bit here, slide down a little bit here, and see about going a little bit darker. That's not too bad. I'd say it's a little wonky though. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, I think that bright bit's too bright. I think that's okay though. These squiggly bits that I had, I don't know about them anymore. I think that's a little bit better though. This is again starting to feel like stone. I'm getting a stone look, but maybe that's just the me thing. Maybe it's not too bad once we were to put it into the game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save, actually, this patch here, that patch there has got to go. Let's grab this guy here. Maybe we can add in, let's see, add a little bit of a patch here possibly, or maybe we can go, let's see, grab this guy here, go down a little bit more into maybe purple a bit, and add a little bit here, possibly, maybe a bit here, maybe a bit here, possibly like that there. I have no clue. Maybe the initial idea I had it was a little bit better, but let's just find out and see. Survey says not too bad. I'm getting more of a stone feeling, but not too bad. It definitely gives me the feeling of patchiness, something that's uneven. So I'm not opposed to that. I would just think maybe adding some more dots to show that there's more differences in it. Not too bad. I think it's definitely a lot better than how we started. And just as a quick reminder, the how we started looked a little something like, if I click on export here and we do F3 and T, it looked a little something like this here. And this one, I think, it does grow on me just a bit. The good news is as well, we have this guy saved, so if we do want to keep it, we can certainly keep it. It grows on me the more time passes, so do let me know which one you prefer. The good news is that we do have backup, so if need be, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mess around with this a little bit more, and then we'll see where things go. This is not too bad. I get the gravel feeling. It's simplistic, but it reminds me of the old Pokemon texture packs or Pixelmon texture packs I used to see. And I'm not going for something super duper simple. And this feels like the cartoonification of what that idea of gravel would be like. The other option, I believe, if we still are allowed to use it, or if nope, I think it might have. Oh no, we do have it. I think. Hold on, hide, show. No, okay, we don't have it. However, maybe these pointy bits. Maybe if we combine them. What if their powers were combined? If we overlaid them on top of each other, how would that then feel? Do you think? The answer to that is not too shabby. Not too shabby. I definitely think just making textures, making things like this, it takes some time to come away from it to then know if you really do enjoy it or not. So for the meantime, let's try one more, just one more, I think. And after that, we'll then call it there and I do this once a week. So the hope is that I can come back to a texture and think, okay, now with a new eye, with a new perspective, I can say this or this. And when I look at my dirt, for example, I was hesitant of it, the texture, but after some time away from it, I realized, you know what? You're not so bad. You can stay. I'm going to give the idea one more time. Let's see what I come up with. color theory, I tell you. Doesn't this dot look like a green? And yet, we are not in green. But because of context clues, we can make it look like green. And if I, just as a, what's it called? An educated guess. I just want to try something super duper quickly. As it never stops amazing me. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, the way I understand this, if we were to have a green color here, and we wanted to add a blue, what you would do is you would slide it over to the color you're looking for, and then you would also slide it towards the gray. And if we were to add a dot here, does that look like a blue? I don't know. If we add it more towards the gray, that just looks like gray. Okay, but in mine, if I go back to here super duper quickly, we grab this color, we grab that color here, filling this base color in, this guy here, adding, oh no, this guy in here, adding this guy. I guess maybe because it was so tiny, it made it look like green. Interesting. Yeah, for green, because I wanted this color to shift towards green, what I did was I moved it over because green's in this direction. So I moved it over and then I moved it to gray. And by moving it over, moving it over and moving it to gray, it does have a little bit of green to it, though I think I made it too dark. Hold on. And then we move it over to you. Move you over. And then I realized, okay, that doesn't look green. Add more. Slide it over until I can get a green color. That looks like green. It's interesting what color theory can do. But since I have you here, take a look at the gravel I've been working on. I do quite like this one. It's more on the simplistic side still. I instead decided to go with more of a pattern feel, and I've yet to test it in the world with this extra color. I do like the idea of just peppering around different colors like what we did for the dirt. If I were to bring you back into here, my concern is that the dots are going to be super duper bright, but let's go ahead and give it a try. If we are back in here, I already right away like this. I think it could be, a few more details could be added. All in all, it feels seamless. It definitely feels like gravel instead of like stone or something else. I think of all the three, this is already a great start in. Why do you look like that? Did the stone always, did it always look like this? Are we in the right texture pack? Apparently, this stone looks super duper out of place. How odd. If we were to go ahead and do F3T, let's see what we get. We get something like this. Yeah, I think we can, Are the dots too distracting? Do they feel too bright? We can lower down the contrast to make it not stand out as much, but I don't know if that's necessarily needed. Is it too bright? Back in Sprite, if I go ahead and click on our grayscale mode, for example, look at how bright the dots are in comparison to everything else. If we were to lower their brightness, so if I just were to do this here, if it lets me, let's see if it does. I need to grab that color. Okay, if I do you here, contiguous, and I were to hold down shift, I'm gonna have to select all of you. You know what? Fine. I can work that way. I am flexible. Can I select all of you? I don't think I can. I don't think it's going to let me. So if I go ahead and check you, where there's 3 or 4 dots. There's you, and there's you. I think those are all the 4 dots. And if I were to do file, and let's see if this does work the way I think it will. File, or no, edit. We need to go to edit. If we go into adjustments and we go into contrast, if we were to lower the contrast, that fades it. If we up the contrast, that makes it really stand out. We don't want it to be as bright as it was. It's right now standing about here. I want to lower the contrast, so I'm going to turn it down just a bit so it still stands out a little bit, but not as much as it was before. And if we turn this guy off, that's definitely more subtle. So this is before the contrast, or after the contrast change, before the contrast change. After, before. It's a really small difference, but if I were to go back into export here, export as export, and we go back into Minecraft, see if you think it does make a difference. If I go ahead and refresh the screen here, we get something like this. And I definitely think the dot's good to stay. It's not as bright as it was before. I'm okay with keeping it, which means now I think adding one more color. We can keep the color simple. We have 2 highlights. We have regular colors. I want to color these, some of these stones. And then I also want to color a little bit of the background, though I don't know how well that's going to go. So why don't we go ahead and find out? I can hear, look, this right now currently is a orange. And yet, when I put it into the scene of purple, it is a green. Isn't color theory wild? Granted, I don't know quite. I know it has something to do with gray and the area being context clues, but I did not expect it against the purple to look like green. My, it's just so interesting. Alrighty, we'll get a good look at this together. I introduce to you the simplified version, elevated, or at least I tried to elevate it. Let's see if we just sort of stay with simple. Okay. Like it? Dark parts gotta go. Some of the dark parts. It makes it look like they're dig sites. If any of you have played Stardew Valley, the Stardew Valley dig sites have like an X marks the spot area. So I think let's just try the simple thing of removing this here. Oh, if it lets me. Remove that guy. Just remove that one dark spot. Export, export again. What do we get? We get, let's see, if I go ahead and go back to here, F3 and then T, we get, let's see, still dig spots? Not as much. Not as much. I'm okay with this. Dig spots were really intense, and if anything, I would see possibly about even making these a little bit brighter. All in all, though, I think this works. I think I am quite satisfied with the way our guy turned out. This brings our total blocks completed score to 3. We have now completed the grass, the dirt, and the gravel, which means we will be doing, I think stone next time. Stone. And then once stone's done, then we can move on to doing the trees. Now, leaves or trunk, or I guess it would be log, I'm not too sure about, but do let me know about your thoughts and ideas. And actually, let me go ahead and bring this back too, as while I did enjoy this final version I did enjoy, do let me know if you like instead try 1 or try 2 better than the other 2. I definitely do have a soft spot for this one just because it feels like Pokemon, but this one feels like what I'm going for. Something that's not too super duper simple, but something that's also not super duper crunchy. That's the best way I can describe that. Well, with all that said and done, thank you for coming, thank you for joining. Let me make sure I move over here. There we are. I gotta do the Minecraft outro correctly, don't I? Okay, hold on. Okay, and thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. I hope you had a lovely time. Maybe you had fun, or maybe you learned something, or maybe you're just here for the vibes. Regardless of the case, I hope you have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, or good night, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Huh?
Uh-huh. Sure.
Huh?